And you're tuning into the Black Hot Fire Radio. And you're listening to, yes, massive Wagwan. Andrew Robinson, your Jamaican brother there. Reaching out to all the massive on the African continent. And you're tuning into the Pan-African Bliss Show with your host, none other than Joby, from Monday to Friday. Stay tuned. Andrew Robinson, love, respect, and justice for all. Big up, massive.
Bringing communities together around the world. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7. Bringing communities together around the world.
Yeah. Choma yako pereka na uko Mr. Kidema na vituko nimezoea kushimota six pro so misioni kaneza stuplo kani homa siwezi pata wana dhani niko aje cold na please mimi nimesota so sione utachimba pa gold Minnesota adile sama panis wanataka game niliwaambia watu mema dollars Thailand na gota heavy rate eko na kama wanipati base wanaambiwa si wali relocate okay tutambia nini waseni mchape remit au send wave I'm not real I'm purely fake so kuna dhani mistake confused na ndejeshi ya genge piti na ngushwa kireke kama mtaka kufikia kipembe moja tizi sare kinembe cry baby unalia shika kipigi and wipe your tears at least kupendi my dear hizo ni nini ndo unasikia kwa heri follow your peers au kuambiwa uachane na mnisa
haiwezi bye bye baby cry baby nataka Nilikusha ustarabu kufula msani Cry baby, nagiri laka cry baby Story kwa news, nifila napewa sani Cry baby, nagiri laka cry baby Nilikusha ustarabu kufula msani Cry baby, nagiri laka cry baby Story kwa news, nifila napewa sani Like, when it's speech of death, man, we never lie Pocket up, wine up Make a man then come back to diner Top girl, let me get the designer Not no man, I can make designer Tic-tac, shivlaza La mutu da tuku tuambeleza Dak, shebeleza Zistringi mezaza hela Anapenda nitokodera Tunatoka gabila pressure Club to be bumper, oh my gosh Kwanza ni kwa madera Sisako usiko na dayo asi Like chick neck Kitanda ni 6x6 mpia na dayo Sisako usiko na dayo asi Like chick neck Kitanda ni 6x6 mpia na dayo Cry baby, nagiri laka cry baby Nilikusha ustarabu kufula msani Cry baby, nagiri laka cry baby
Yes, good afternoon, family. Karibuni sana to yet another beautiful discussion right here on the media of the 21st century. This is the Black Hot Fire Network. My name is Joby. For those who are here for the first time, and of course to all our amazing returning listeners and subscribers. Karibuni, good morning, good afternoon. I don't know the time is on your end, but it's exactly 6 minutes past 1 p.m. right here in the 254, and a quick shout out to everyone joining and streaming live via Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, and also on our show page and the radio station. Karibuni, hope I'm audible enough. I hope for everyone listening on the radio station, you guys can hear me loud and clear. And of course, Karibuni, do remember you can pin your comments that is on our show page if you are on the radio station. You can also watch live via the show page as well if you cannot be able to connect through YouTube. Tuko kila mahali, so you have no excuse to literally miss the shows. But in case you do remember you can leave your comments there regarding the conversation we shall be having today. And today we shall actually be talking about a few African countries that we know actually do not belong to Africa. And we are talking about Morocco being one of them. We're talking about Mauritania. Shout out to Dimore who covered the whole story yesterday. And it was so mad. Literally, if you try look at the kind of racism and slavery still being practiced in this particular country, and which African people have failed upon doing anything. It is so crazy. So we shall be talking about Tunisia, which is supposed to be, of course, going to an election that is on October. And I know for people like Keith, they'll be joining my show and say, like, people like places like Tunisia, Morocco, or Mauritania, we should not be talking about it because it's not African people who are there. But according to my topic is where we're saying reclaiming back what belongs to us, because we're talking about land, we're talking about resources, we're talking about power. It has been all snatched away from African people. And until we realize literally this belongs to us and you don't need to beg but take it, then that is power. So that is what we shall be focusing on. I have a video to share coming from, of course, that is the Africa Diaspora channel. You know who that is. That is Dr. Phil's channel. And this is where we have this one lady and a guy who's explaining the kind of racism they experienced in Morocco. And we shall also go back to some articles where we saw a few months ago, actually, we had that is Giorgia Meloni and help. That is Giorgia Meloni and Tunisia. They did pass, actually, it was Italy and Tunisia, they passed a bill or a law that should not allow Africans to actually use their country going to all the way to Europe. So we shall be discussing on that. We've seen, of course, a couple of videos which I've shared also on a past shows where we've seen people facing this kind of racism. In Tunisia especially, we saw men being beaten, pregnant women being beaten, and it is so crazy to see the kind of freedom that has been snatched from our own continent. When you go outside as an African person, you can't express literally or enjoy whatever tour or agenda you're going there without being called an N-word, or without experiencing some sort of racism. So if this is the norm that they want to show us, and we shout out to Keith, if it has to be on a war where when it comes to defending and taking back our territory, then it's gonna have to be it. Because personally, I've had enough of seeing African people being treated this way. And I'll go back again to something I always say. It's a high time the African continent put measures in this continent as well when it comes to the foreign people coming in the African continent. What is your purpose? For how long are you going to stay? Who are you going to see? Can we get your number? We're going to check and track on you the same way they do to African people. So that is what we shall be focusing on. We shall also talk about the deployment of the Kenyan police in Haiti, who are currently, of course, on a patrol. I'll be sharing a video on that. And I see the Haitian Prime Minister has actually urged William Ruto to deploy more police officers there. Do remember the first trip, of course, has happened, which is not the first trip, where we saw Ruto flagging 400 troops to go to Haiti. But I do remember, again, a undisclosed number of troops had already arrived, and among the numbers also some died there, and it is crazy. So we shall be discussing on that, what is really, really happening, and also something that I want us to talk about slightly still in Morocco, and this is where actually where this got my attention. When you talk about the Chinese farm companies that are there, and they're creating companies and companies like the Tesla company. And I think this is where we linked to them extracting resources. They are so freely living here and setting up businesses. As African people continue being impoverished, then this is a no, which is a big no. So karibuni sana, that is our main conversation for the day. That is what we shall be focusing on, basically and majorly, and much more of what is happening in other African countries. Karibuni, as you get into the debate, do follow the live creator in case you're here for the first time to ever live with us on TikTok. Shout out to Englishman, shout out to Steven, shout out to Guy Aram, shout out to everyone who is there on TikTok. Karibuni sana, and also tap the screen as we get to continue to invite more people. As you get to continue with the day, of course, I'm wishing you a blissful day and continue winning. This is Judah Kingdom coming in with the win, and I wish you guys a beautiful day.
That's why we try again. Every time I feel, cause God always will listen. One day I have to win. That's why I try again. Tell me, working hard like I'm still struggling. Minimum wage can't cover my bills. Somebody tell me I'm gonna live. They might confuse. Yes, me, Tanisha first starter. When we don't stop, we used to hear their laughter. But you know, say I time out of monster. And everything I say I'm going to do me, I go after. This is free, that's why every day my OD. Just like it's a girl from the east with a dream. I shoot for the top and make up when you want team. Every time we feel, count you know the ground. Swear we are for real. That's why we're trying. Every time we feel, cause God always listen. There I have to. That's when we try again. No ideas, me. Just one balance for mentally, no. Must stop tell myself, so I don't put it off. I know like say I just know life I rough. But keep on pushing and don't ease up. But even when I try to stay on the way, crosses them won't seem gray. Then I'm gonna live to see the best.
Yes, and of course, Karibuni Sana once again. That is Jada Kingdom coming in with We playing right here on the media of the 21st century. This is the Black Hot Fire Network. 14 minutes past the top of the hour, and a quick shout out to everyone live again streaming with us. That is through Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok. Shout out to Mr. Black Hot Fire on Instagram. Shout out to Iwetan, yeah. Shout out to everyone on also the social other social pages like the show page or rather our main radio station. Now, as we get to continue, like I said, we shall be focusing our conversation to so many particular countries, literally, that belong to Africans. And they're not African. Africans do not actually even have the freedom to walk freely in these countries. And yesterday, I think we were talking about Mauritania, a little bit of it. We're talking about a certain country, I think Mauritania, if I'm not wrong. That was Demore covering on Mauritania, and where it did talk about the enslavement. Was it Mauritania? Somebody correct me. Yeah, where the enslavement is still very, very active. And when you talk about these countries that have been invaded by these Arabic people, we're talking about Tunisia, Libya, Morocco, Mauritania, and so many, Egypt, that today, Ethiopia itself, we were talking about that yesterday, and Somali, which kids said it doesn't care. But like I said, we should care, because this not only was once our land, still is our land. Not only were this once our resources, it's still our resources, and the power also. We need to reclaim it back. So I'll be sharing a video along that where we have, of course, so many. We have a woman, and of course, if you try look on YouTube, if you search for the type of racism people have experienced, you'll find, of course, a bunch of videos. But this is specifically coming from Dr. Phil's channel, where we had this lady who talked about the racism, how she experienced food poisoning in Mauritania, and also this guy, what he experienced, he was like, this is so absurd and out of this world. In Tunisia as well, I've covered a story that was last year, where we saw in Tunisia, we saw actually the president, that is Netanyahu. Is it Netanyahu? No, not Netanyahu. The president of Tunisia. I'm confusing the Israel and Tunisia. But we had the president of Tunisia who had actually ordered African people, anyone who's seen on the streets, to be beaten. And I shared a video of that, and that really broke my heart. So it is crazy to see that continuously African people are being displaced while we have countries that are empty. Basically, literally, they're empty. Because I don't consider these Arabic people like they exist. That is one thing we should actually keep in our heads as African people. They don't exist. They do not exist. You should actually turn a blind eye, a blind ear, like they don't exist, and go take back what is right.
It's Mauritania. It's Mauritania, children.
Mm-hmm. All of them. We're talking about
and the ideal you got open slavery in Mauritania. That was actually part of Mansa Musa's empire. You got Arabs controlling the shit and enslaving Africans. The Africans, man, ain't done shit about it. It's a damn disgrace. None of these countries in Africa have said, you've been supposed to move in on. It's supposed to be open war on Mauritania.
It is
long time ago.
It is crazy. It is crazy. So Tunisia itself. So I'm gonna start, of course, with what is happening. Basha to Jiba Jaba before we get to move on. Karibu Sana. This is Donna Sama. You know what's up. You know the timing I'm on. But Karibu Sana, nice to see you.
Yeah, she got a Donna Summer wig on today. Joby is hot stuff. You guys remember Donna Summer song Hot Stuff? Joby's hot stuff. Oh no. The main one, no, Joby's Donna Summer song Bad Girl. Bad Girl.
We know
Talking about the bad girls.
Come on, don't hit me. Don't hit on me. Don't do that like you did that yesterday. Come on, leave that for yesterday's show. But anyway, family, Karibuni sana today. Hope you're doing great. So I want to start, of course, with what is happening in Tunisia as we get to connect all the way down to our these countries, including Libya, the racism our people face there, and the kind of treatment and actions we should take also as African people. So Tunisia is set for an election that is on October this year, and the current president is not white. He's not black. Sorry, he's not black, and I don't believe actually we also have any black man or woman.
They invaded those countries, Joe. They took them over years ago.
Mm-hmm. So it's sad to see that actually we've not been educated about this kind of situations to know, because when you talk about the African map, we just thought.
Let me send you this video.
Countries. You're taught we have 54 countries in Africa. This is this and this. You touch bits of the history of it, but majorly the African education you focus, I think, in your own country. I believe that is how the system is set up, where your education is just you focus majorly just on the regime of your own country, not other countries, to learn about their history. And if so, just bits of it because maybe they have a relationship with your country. So if you try to look at countries like Tunisia, Libya, Morocco, Mauritania, so many countries, literally Egypt itself, Ethiopia, Somali, that today we see the indigenous people who belong there do not live. We've not been taught about it as African people. We've not been taught that the way you said it, this has been, there are countries which have been invaded a long time ago. Personally, if I were still not, maybe tapped into this information, I'd assume we have black people in Tunisia. The same way I'd assume if maybe
you still got a few there that in the south. Like get a few Africans. When they invaded, a lot of Africans didn't. A bunch of them left and went back into Kenya, Nigeria. All those lands are African people's land. But they left as they got invaded or took into slavery. They went further south. So a lot of them ended up in Kenya, then ended up in Nigeria, Niger, Mali. They ended up south of the Sahara. But if you go south of those countries, you got black people that refuse to leave because those are their lands. So in southern Libya, you got Africans. In southern Morocco, you got Africans. In southern Egypt, you have Africans. In southern Algeria, you got Africans, the ones that refuse to leave. So even though a lot of them still trying to wipe them out, you still have them there, Joe. So a lot of them are still there.
Mm-hmm. Just a minute. Shout out to Mzales on TikTok. Karibu sana. Who told you my biological ID names, Mzales? I've not received them person from you anywhere. Who told you my biological names, my ID names? Because you got every detail correct. Why?
You want to give them all your Instagram information. Ain't it on there?
No. My Instagram, there's nothing personal about me. Like literally everything is my nickname, not my whatever name.
Okay.
Karibu sana. Thank you for the compliments. Nice to meet you as well.
You've been doing research on Donna Summer.
Man, he's really digging me down. Come on. But anyway, so Tunisia is set to go for an election in October. So they're saying that the Tunisia leader has scheduled the next presidential election for October, but did not say if he will seek a second term after 5 years at the head of the Northern African nation, once seen as a model of democracy for the Arab world. See, not even for the Africa, not for the Africa.
I told you guys they're not because they're not Africans.
Yay! The audacity, kid. The audacity. It's the audacity. This is in Africa. It's in the continent. Unless they want this to really be, take the land with you then. But you can't do that apparently. So you're going to have to leave the land here and let the people come back.
And I go give up those lands to so Africans without a war?
Yeah, it's gonna be a war, Keith. You remember what you said in the morning on Iwaton and Shmani's show? Sadly, Africans have to be told this, but yeah, we're gonna have to go on a war. It's not gonna be easy for us to take back what belongs to us, but you have to be brutal to earn the respect, and whatever you gotta be brutal.
True. Sadly enough.
Smiling with people and they're here not smiling with you, you know. You keep on worshiping and they're stealing and taking away. We have displacement of African people, and this is why the effect of it comes in. I want to give a very good example with South Africa. We have displacement of African people, and I want to use like DRC Congo, Sudan. But I'm expecting as an African person, because this is my continent, I have brothers and sisters who look like me, I can rush and run to South Africa. And I'm expecting to be expected and treated equally, because you understand my situation. And that is what is going to be explained on the video that I'm going to be sharing. The African...
We talking about South Africans' minds are messed. They talking about how white supremacy has destroyed people's minds, Joby.
That's what I'm going.
So
that's what I'm going.
You won't never let me finish. Go ahead.
That's where I'm going. We are expecting for us to be so welcoming, but because of this border bullshit that has been kept, and also how the laws have been set up of a country. I want to give again with an example of Uganda. Uganda, just a few months ago, they said we have, I don't know how many Sudanese who went to their country because of the war, of course, and DRC Congo people. They are actually, they are counting. Why are you counting? Why can't you just be so welcoming? Why is it that is so? Why are you noting who is coming in and out while we all look alike? What you should actually do is find a way how you can provide for these people, set up a base or a camp for them before they find a means and way for them to go back to their normal lives. And sadly, when you look at the counting and everything, it's like you're being told, and again, I'll go back to South Africa, the xenophobic behavior, or you came back, which I understand about the jobs and everything. But what if I didn't just come here for a job? What if I came to explore South Africa, but you're already insecure, telling me and throwing your xenophobic character to me, you know, because you think I came to take your job. I just came maybe to explore. And maybe I came just maybe to settle and start a job and employ a couple of you. But you're already seeing me as an enemy without you being welcoming. And the reason why I'm saying or connecting all this, the displacement of the people, the government counting the number of the people who are coming in their country, while we have empty countries, because Tunisia, Libya, Mauritania, Morocco, they are empty. There is no African people living there. But we're so congested in one place. Just because you've been
warred against. Because you've been warred against. And the whole thing was to take all of Africa over, Joby. The whole thing was to take Africa completely over. From the south to the north was to take it all over and make it non-African, the African spot. That's the reason why you got that. The only reason why you got the African today in the country today, because you fought those wars and you won. You lost those wars in the north. That's why you lost those parts of Africa. So understand, the whole thing was to take all of Africa. Make no mistake about this. It was to take all of it.
It is crazy, and this is unacceptable. We are reclaiming back what is ours. The white men are already declaring war. So I think, again, with what that lady, there's a lady I was sharing a video when she was talking about the white Congress, or the white men talking about the invasion of Niger. That is how they call it, invasion of Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. She said the audacity of these white men opening their small mouth, thinking they can now come back to Africa and recolonize us again. Africans are ready, and this is so evident by now. We are so ready. People are so woke with information and knowledge. The only thing we need, and shout out to Russia, which is helping us, and this is why it's been considered as an enemy, because it's trying to help Africa one way or another. And which I also say, look at it with another eye. Don't be so blinded just because they're coming here to help you with weapons. But yes, we do need weapons. We do need a strong military. We do need to be very well prepared for this war, because white people are. they're widely declaring it to South Africans. If you dare claim back your land, it's gonna be a war. We saw with the video I was sharing yesterday, they are threatened and saying that this is their territory. How dare we remove the democratic puppet they have installed here? How
Yeah, they
dare?
make all kind of schemes to make sure they can keep the shit they stole.
It is crazy and insane. Let me share this video right here as we get to continue. So we have this lady who says she experienced food poisoning in Morocco, where she thinks they intentionally sold us something that was rotten or something bad because she was, of course, a black woman. And the other guy also explains the kind of situation he saw of how black people were being treated on a queue of line that they were supposed to be served to go on the next plane. It's crazy.
If you're a black person or a person of color, travel to Morocco at your own risk. There is countless evidence in so many videos that have been made and put out there.
And the funny part about that, Marrakesh was the capital of the Africans who controlled Spain. Marrakesh was an African city of African people. And now all these places that you lost are now racist and shit to African people who established those very civilizations.
Country, no matter how beautiful it is, no matter all the experiences you think you can get in Morocco, do not go. Because you know what? You're going to be treated differently based off of the color of your skin. And this is just not a conspiracy theory. So many people have documented experiences where, one, they've been racially harassed in Morocco because of the color of their skin, people hurling insults at them, people following them and making them feel uncomfortable to a point where they're scared for their own life. Airlines will treat you in a certain type of way. They will not care for your well-being. Hotels will reciprocate the same energy that everybody's giving you. So if you have a little money to spend, Morocco is not the place to go.
It pains me to make this video because I had such a good time in Morocco till the end and everything went bad. First of all, they stopped us at the airport and said we should go to the police station to verify our visa. I don't know what that meant. And then 10 minutes to board our flight, they told us that the flight was...
To verify your visa, young lady, it means go back to the Zimbabwe lady who told you you're not eligible for a visa. So they want to confirm if you really are eligible, how you got that visa for you to be in your own continent. Make that make sense.
Cancelled. Not rescheduled, just cancelled. And they put us on the bus and they're taking us to the hotel where we'll spend the night. And these people start driving us to Casablanca by road without our consent. It was so bizarre. I was so terrified for my life because we found out like 2 hours into the journey we were going to Casablanca. This was the hotel they put us at. And the next morning when we came for breakfast, I realized that it was only black people that were here. The food was also horrid that they didn't let us serve ourselves. We had to sit down and then they bring this miserable breakfast to you. I went back to my room and tried to be zen about this disaster. Then we went for lunch and they served me this food that almost ended my life because it gave me food poisoning from hell. Trigger warning, I'm about to start throwing up. At this point, my entire trip had gone to hell. I was vomiting and crying. I could not believe that I used my hand to put myself in this situation. I just wanted to leave Morocco and I'm so glad I did in one piece.
Hello there, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of our conversations. My name is there.Join. I'm a business journalist by profession and a digital content creator. And I love coming on here talking to you guys about Black people, Africans, our empowerment, and how we can rise up and take our rightful place at the global stage. You can connect with me on social media at there.Join, or you can come over to my YouTube channel at Ondira Oganga. Oh no, actually, we have rebranded the name of the YouTube channel. It's now called New Dawn Africa Channel, where I profile African leaders through people, politics, and culture. So pass by when you're done watching this video. Let's get into today's video. You know, it's really interesting because we live in fantastic times. They could be better, but there's still good times where Black people can work, Black people can earn a decent living, Black people can save some money, Black people can travel the world and just enjoy a little bit, enjoy the fruits of our labor, which is the most gratifying thing. I can just speak from my point of view to see people that look like me be able to get into the workforce, get some money of their own, and then get to explore the world. You know, it's no longer just We're no longer shackled by the shackles of poverty. And even though it still exists by a large extent on the African continent, there are those who have the privilege to travel. And so we get to live through them, right? Thanks to social media. And, you're always curious because Africa is divided into there's West Africa, there's East Africa, Central Africa, South Africa, then there's North Africa. And so let's go just gradually, right? And there's always some form of division or separation because the rest of Africa is always referred to as Sub-Saharan Africa, and then there's North Africa. And most of the data and statistics about Sub-Saharan Africa does not relate to North Africa because they're far more developed in terms of infrastructure, healthcare, education, road network,
because of the air.
To Europe, their access to the ocean. So they have far better and greater opportunities than the rest of the continent. But also the elephant in the room is they look a little bit different than the rest of us. And I don't think that it should be a big deal because there's no money.
It should be a big deal. See, this I told you, this the dumb shit they be saying. It shouldn't be it is a big deal, moron. All that love shit you keep doing is a big deal, fucking stupid. Those people invaded, that's why it's developed up there, because those are white people, stupid. That's why it's developed. That's why they didn't feel they were going to completely not develop that part of Africa, because white people stay there. But you're too stupid to know that because you want to love every fucking body and not deal with common sense shit. Shut the fuck up if you're not going to be completely honest. It doesn't matter. It does matter. Reason why it's developed up there because it's white people. Reason why South Africa is developed because of white people there. Reason why other parts of Africa is undeveloped because of black people being there. Let's stop the bullshit. Call a goddamn spade a spade. Tired of you goddamn niggas with your goofy talk. It doesn't matter. I don't know how. It doesn't matter. They're more developed than the part of Africa. Why? Because white people are there. Mm-hmm. And so they're not going to subjugate them as much as black Africa. That's why. Sounding stupid all the time. Go ahead, Joby.
All the way down to South Africa. Shout out to Ja Mosquito. Karibu sana. Hope you're doing amazing. Yeah, that goes all the way down to still the same thing we see in South Africa. It is developed because of white people who are there and still actually active, very, very active.
Conversation with a friend of a friend who was Egyptian, and I asked him, what's the big deal? Like, what's the big deal? Why don't you guys like referring to yourselves as African? And he told me that he doesn't get it because also when you ask an Egyptian if they're Arab, they'll tell you they're not Arab. So looks like they're just Egyptians, but then again, you are in Africa. You're part
because you don't know shit. That's why you're so dangerous. They're not Egyptians, motherfucker. The African was the Egyptian, and Egyptian is a Greek name. The name of that era was called Kemet. Kemet, land of the blacks. They don't call themselves black Africans because they're not Africans, lady. They're not born in Africa, but they're not African people. They invaded the land. So before you get on with your group of YouTube channel, how about you learn some shit? Because you don't know enough to teach African people shit. Learn shit first. Then come back and do your goofy videos. Learn some history. Well, I asked them, why don't you call yourself Africans? Because they're not. That's why they'll call themselves Africans. Stupid. Mm-hmm. Because they're not.
So this is the experience this guy had as we get to
a few days ago. I came across a post of a young Nigerian man who
and then they and they want to claim that they're ancient Egyptians when they're not. These people up there today have nothing to do, just like the white people here today have nothing to do with ancient America. These white people that invaded here 500 years ago have nothing to do with what happened in ancient America times. They were not here. Just like them people in Egypt have nothing to do with the pyramids, the temples, and the glory of Kemet. Nothing to do with it. But they try to claim it They want to claim it because it's the greatness of the world. It has nothing to do with these motherfuckers. They want to go up there, change the pictures, cut off the black people's noses. Nothing to do with these people. Nothing. All that was African, just like Tunisia. Tunisia was Carthage, family, Hannibal, an African civilization that we lost. Carthage, a very famous, who crushed the Romans. African civilization. Oh, that was 2,300 years ago. They actually had control of Spain and parts of Europe back then. African. And now, since these fake people got control, when they show Hannibal being black, they get mad. Oh, he's not black. Motherfucker, that was a black civilization. And none of you bastards were in Africa then. That's what they try to say to African. They call it African a sub-Saharan African. All of Africa was black. Now they try to play the game. Oh, you're sub-Saharan. You're below the Sahara. And white people are above the Sahara. As if they always been there when they have not. Mm-hmm. So understand, when you go there, they're racist because they're white. They're invaded. They're white people. They're not Arabs. Okay, let's make sure you understand that. White people may not reclassify themselves. They're white. That's why they got blonde hair and blue eyes up there too. They're white people. They're either Turks, Greeks, mixed Romans, or Germans. Who mixed with a few black people. You might got a couple mulattoes up there too, because black people were the original people. Mixed with them. That's what they are. African, they are not. Okay? That's why they don't call themselves Africans. Because they have the same hatred for you as all white people do. You get it? But those civilizations up there were started by African people. Morocco was an African country. Marrakesh was African. Now you find nothing but white people as the kings there. How'd that happen? You got conquered, moron. You lost wars. That's how it happened. Go ahead, Joby.
Malaysia and had faced some heavy discrimination and had to be put on a flight back, which cost the authorities $1,000 to put him back on a plane for simply being Nigerian. So my story is not exactly the same as that. My story is me going to Cape Verde via Morocco. My story is not about Cape Verde. My story is about Morocco. So it was in 2019, and we had just come out of lockdown in South Africa, but soft lockdown was still in place, and some of us were able to travel. So I traveled from Cape Town to go to Cape Verde. And because of visa issues and flight path rules, I ended up having to travel from Cape Town to Doha, from Doha to Morocco, and from Morocco to Cape Verde. And the flight from here to Doha was great. It was wonderful, great service, beautiful. And then the flight from Doha to Morocco, great. But then I had an 8-hour layover in Morocco because that's the way it was. There just weren't enough flights from Morocco to Cape Verde on the day, and I had to wait 8 hours. And that 8 hours was going to be quite a stressful time, as I came to know. So I land in Morocco, and it must have been around 12 midday or 11. I cannot clearly remember. I didn't have a SIM card for the place.
Hold on, Joby. I'm gonna lose you in a minute. I sent you 2 videos, Joby. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I seen that.
I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna send you 2 videos to play. One is about what ancient Morocco was. It's black. Play that one. And I showed you another one when the white Europe is going under. They're gonna want to come back to war with us because they're going broke. They need to survive. So I sent those to you.
All right.
Things as we arrived. Beautiful international airport. As we arrived at the terminal, I get in and I go up to somebody. Think that person worked for the airport. They had a desk there, and I said, "Well, I've got a flight in 8 hours from here, so I'd love to go to a lounge." So he looks me up and down and says, "Oh, you want a lounge?" And I say, "Yes." And he points behind me, and behind me is a line of black people, some of whom looked like they've been there a while because the elderly ladies had laid down their sarongs and were just lying there, and some of the men were there in clusters just talking. And so I thought, that's odd. So I say, "Oh," he says to me, they're also waiting to go into the lounge." And I go, "Oh, okay." So my big surprise was they're all black, but I see all the other people where they're going to. I said, "Well, are you sure that's for the lounge?" And he says, "Yes, that's for the lounge." Okay. So I go and I stand there, and sure as Joe, a bus comes, one of those airport shuttles comes, and we go into the shuttle, and we're standing there, someone sitting, and it must have been about 1.5 kilometers or maybe 2 even from the main terminal. And we get there and we land, and something seems a bit off, because while we're standing there in the bus and looking through before they open the doors, we see a security guard unlocking the door from the inside, and he's got keys around his neck, and so the hairs on my back and my neck and my arms just stand. And I thought, what the hell is this? So he opens this glass door, comes towards the bus, and then we go off to the line with our luggage, and we go in. And because something feels off, I just go, "Oh, what the heck am I going to do now?" And I look around as we enter this place, and I see they've got a username and password on the wall just behind the official who was welcoming us. And I put those in my phone because I remember I had no SIM card because I was a prepaid customer of my telephone company. They didn't offer roaming services. So the first person I wanted to contact was my husband and let him know,
What?
something.
That is where he caught me. My husband. Gay. He gay.
Thing is off. And luckily, the Wi-Fi is working in this place.
My husband. My husband. But in general, if you continue the rest of the video, he talks about he saw nothing but just racism. And that is basically, even from the other lady, what majority of these people are going through in most of these countries. Libya, Tunisia. I bet actually, I don't say one of them is the worst. I believe they are all the same. But with the video I saw of Tunisia and the order that the president had given for anyone who's seen around black should be beaten, because I shared that last year, if you guys can remember, on one of the shows. I think Tunisia could be the worst, because Tunisia is also one among the country. Tunisia and Libya is one among the countries that have signed so many deals with Italy and these other elites for Africans not to cross over. I tell you, my husband. That caught me there. I also stopped the video right there when I was watching it. I'm like, okay, my husband. But I see Jiba Jaba, who has the comments, of course, right here on YouTube. He says, hot stuff. Thank you so much. And the user says, how come around the world we blacks are always regulated to the southern part of the country? I don't understand. I don't get it. I mean, I understand the question, but I don't understand why they do that. Okay. I also see you saying that Phil is a trip. He started out discussing. He started out discussing Black women. Now he copies Black on Fire content and employ young African women. Come on. You know what's up? The competition is stiff. You know, you gotta keep up. You know, he's not bringing center of attraction him alone. So he has to. He saw that he's not bringing more attraction. So he had to bring some women as well, so that they can bring that, you know, in his channel. But shout out to him. I also see you saying that those Babas are another cosplayers. And yeah, it is crazy, man. It is so crazy. In Morocco, Tunisia, all these countries. But again, personally, I'm saying, with the awakening that is happening in Africa, as I shared the video skit that has sent to me, let us remember that we have countries to take back. As much as we're fighting for our countries, we have countries to free. That is the right term to use. We have countries to free. We're talking about starting from our very own DRC, talking about South Africa. Oh my God, South Africans. Then we go to the southern parts of Africa. That is actually the original south parts of Africa. That is Tunisia, Mauritania, and all that. Whatever is happening over there, because we do know the map that was interchanged. It's not the way we read it today. But that is one thing we should keep in our head. Like I said yesterday, as much as we're fighting for Africa, let us not forget our brothers and sisters. Because the reason why we have slums actually on increase in Africa, like I was saying, they're claiming we are overpopulated, but this is because they are congesting us in one place. You know, you are displacing people, they rush to other countries that they can. And then once you come do your census and calculate the number, you're like, this is overpopulation in one country. But you are the cause because you're taking so much land, there's lack of space. So people have to actually squeeze themselves in the tiny spaces that they can get. If you try to look at the image of Congo today, despite them digging and all that, camping sites have been set all over. An image of just nothing but poverty. You're being squeezed one place in one region so that you can be able to. It is just so sad. And that has to go. It has to go. Because if I'm to try to check actually the lands occupied by, if you talk about Tunisia, Libya, Mauritania, and if you try check the development, yes, it could be there, but how many lands are empty? And how many companies, apart from the empty lands, how many companies have been set for their own benefit, which actually produce nothing but just chemicals and still don't benefit even African people themselves? But we have companies set, not controlled by none of our African organizations. Not even the AU has a clue of this. It is just so shameful, so shameful. But let me share this video.
You played them videos already, Joby? Yeah, I went out.
Not yet.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
If Le Pen was not strong, would never be president. If Le Pen was not strong, and Le Pen would never be strong if somebody like Macron was not in government, practicing socialism for the very few, ultra rich, and austerity for the many. So the two, they may not.
He's scared. The black guy's scared. We gotta go. No, you got the numbers. I think I'm gonna come back in and take back over Africa. We have no weapons. The black guy talking is scared. Nigerian. Nigerians are always cowardly. So they're gonna come back in. We're gonna have to be ready. They're gonna come back and do war. Yes, that's coming. But so what? This time you win. Go ahead, Joe. But then they go out.
Dance, and this dance now is taking us, unfortunately, to a postmodern version of the 1930s, where the ultra-right essentially is being handed over power by the center-right. You can see that the center-right has imploded. The Republicans have completely gone down. At the same time, we have Germany, which is, let's not forget, the steam engine of the economy of the European Union. So you have France going that way, and the business model of Germany is kaput. If you put the two together, because the EU is, after all, the Franco-German axis, we have a continent which is fading and is becoming geostrategically, politically, ethically. We saw what's going on with migrants being drowned, intentionally more or less by the European Union policy in the Mediterranean. It's becoming a cross between irrelevant and toxic.
You heard that. So basically, we all know this. The EU is Franco-German, Franco-German, if you want to call it that. France and Germany are the powerhouses of the EU. England has not been relevant since the 80s. We all saw that interview where the BBC interview where the Chinese representative of the Chinese government obliterated the British guy. Asked him what does England produce? You have no industries. You don't make any tech. You don't manufacture any. Like you like American Confederates. You're trying to live off a glory of whatever the fuck happened hundreds of years ago. Like you have no power. But back to the story at hand. The EU is dying. You are seeing what's happening. All I'm saying for us Africans, right, is once they get to where they realize, look, we cannot sustain our means of living without Africa. Because everything that's happening right now is happening because Africa is waking up. Once they come to the realization, because far-right countries are taking over in different, far-right parties are taking over in different European countries. And one of the things that we know is you cannot go to war without the people's approval. So once these far-right people convince the people that Africans need to be invaded for their whatever, they'll say, yeah, they'll get together and they'll come in. We don't. They've kept us weaponless, powerless for so long to ensure that this, you see, it's happening. If they decide to come in, we the people, what do we have to fight with?
The numbers.
We are at a very important time in history right now. And what we do or don't do will determine the fate of our children and grandchildren as African people. You heard it. They are becoming economically, politically, geostrategically, even morally irrelevant. And they are the kings of propaganda. Once they go back, they will come back to Africa, they will kill, they will take what they need to take. Within another generation, we would have forgotten their atrocities. Till this moment, South Africans are still in my comments defending white people. Till this moment, South Africans are in my comments saying they prefer them over us.
Don't worry, brother. I'm joining you. I'll help you. They'll leave you alone. Don't worry. Don't worry. We shall leave you alone. We shall give them the taste of their own medicine. You don't worry one bit. But I agree with him, but I also disagree with him when he's portraying some sort of fear of what do we have to fight with. Again, we've seen just with what has happened in Kenya itself.
Right, exactly. Okay, you got the numbers.
The number of the people is undefeatable.
Exactly.
I said, unless they decide to drop a nuclear bomb on us, then that's the only option they can get rid of.
The only option, exactly.
Get rid of the all African number. I mean, have you seen Nigeria? Oh my God, have you seen the population of Nigeria? Then add the rest of the African continent. We still have women giving birth 10, 15 children. Come on,
right?
It's gonna
while they're going extinct. So come on in. They don't got the numbers. That's what I told you though. They would come back to Africa with Putin asking them, we need your kids to join our military. It's about the numbers. They don't have the numbers. So they come back in Africa. I told you they're going to come. And that would be the end of their ass. That would be your graveyard. You would be on this rock. And that'd be the end of you.
So as I shared the last video, as we get closer.
So this video shows, Joby, how Morocco was created by African people. It always was African. But the last empire there that make Morocco what it is today was created by the African.
Something you were saying yesterday on the Morris show when you're talking about civilization, and which makes a whole lot of sense. You say that the white people in general, because they are white people, these fake Arabic names and all these fake religious names they have made up. All the white people are so scared because they don't know what civilization is all about. They have lived off the back of other people. They have lived enslaving people. They have lived off just everything being done for them. So now the fact that African people are now claiming what is theirs and refusing to be enslaved, refusing to, working for them and all that, they're scared. So they want to come back again.
It's called power. Yeah, there's a power shift happening, of course. Exactly, Joe. They're scared. Power shift. They know. I already told you. Within 50 years, 3 in 4 people on the planet will be African. 3 in 4. Because the planet's going back to being African. That's what all the GMO foods about. About the chemtrails blotting out the sun, trying to stop the African coming back to power. And you're not going to stop it.
I think if it was possible, every African child should be raised, especially if you are a lady, if you have the interest. But for men, it should be mandatory. You should grow up being trained to go on a war. Okay,
that's right.
You should grow up being.
That's right, Joby.
Find yourself and how to fight, understanding that hey, one day anything can happen. You can be invaded. How are you going to protect or defend yourself? But I don't know.
Women and the children, exactly. Oh, exactly what you said, Joe. That's correct. All men, all boys are supposed to be trained to be warriors. All boys.
I feel like how we used to do, if I'm correct, this is again.
Yes, you did. That was African. Yes, you did.
I didn't even say it.
I know what you're going to say. You believe that African men were trained as warriors back in the day. Yes.
I want to give an example. Like hunting, we grew up hunting, you used to go hunt, you come back and you're considered
the only reason why you still got Black Africa today, Joby, is because of warriors. They wanted the whole continent. The only reason why you got as many black countries you still got today is because of the African man as a warrior. That's it.
And I believe actually what could, if I'm also correct, in marriage-wise, also women were attracted to men who were the strongest on the wall.
Yes. That's the nature. Women don't like weak men. Yeah. So that's just natural. That's why Creator make things, because the man must be able to protect and provide, must be able to defend what he's got, defend his woman and his children. So women didn't mess with no weak man, because I know a computer, I know laptop, and do being a geek. What? Nah, women are attracted to geeks. Women are attracted to men that are strong. That's the nature, because you want strong children, and you want a man that can defend the nation, defend you and your children. That's embedded in your DNA. That's why all these geeks get mad. Oh, she didn't like me. She didn't want me because you're weak, nigga. Women don't like weak men.
Yeah, men are eating noodles. Come on, I'm not taking this. I'm not eating noodles. No way.
In the year 1048, Yahya ibn Ibrahim, ruler of the Berbers of the desert, made a pilgrimage to Mecca. He returned to North Africa with a religious teacher from Mecca called Ibn Yazin, and Yazin attempted to teach Islam among the desert Berbers. He failed and was chosen.
Yeah, remember when Joe was talking about Senegal's next to Mauritania. So how the Senegalese took over Mauritania, took over part of ancient Ghana, which is Mansa Musa's empire, took part of that empire, and took over all of Morocco and Spain, and also Algeria, which is now white. All these areas were still black people. Those civilizations, those buildings you see, ancient buildings in Algeria, Morocco, were built by African people. From Spain down to Senegal was an African empire. That's what he's talking about. I already knew this, but I'm glad he's putting it on TikTok. Go ahead, Joby.
Everyone then ended up
he's doing some facial expressions here. I don't know. Are you okay?
To Tekra on the Senegal River. So we're now in Senegal.
That's
There they
Senegal,
established
right.
a monastery and lived as recluses, and then people joined this movement from Senegal, and they became known as El Morabitun, or in English, Morabites. Another word is the French one, Marabout. Does that make sense?
Right.
These are all West Africa now. And the word that you see in the literature is El Moravids. Now, in Tekra, the movement grew. Tekrarians wanted their independence from ancient Ghana and saw the new movement as a force that could win that independence. So in 1062,
they wanted to break
the same group from
Musa
the desert and now people from Senegal, they established Marrakesh, which is the African capital of their empire. So Marrakesh in Morocco used to be
the capital. Marrakesh is in Morocco. Exactly. It was the capital of the empire. From Spain, they controlled Spain, which is in Europe, Spain, Algeria, Morocco, Senegal, Mauritania. That was all African empire, controlled by the what do we call the Almoravids? What do we call them? Those are Africans, and that's just 600 years ago. Those are Africans, not the cracker you see there today. Go ahead, Joby.
They conquered ancient Ghana and held it for some years. Tekra became independent of Ghanaian imperial rule. By the time we get to 1082, there were hundreds of Moors and Arabs streaming into Africa, fleeing the campaigns of the Christians because the Moorish rule, the Arab rule in Spain had become unstable.
The whites were taking back over Spain, and then the Senegal went and took it back over.
They visited Yusuf, leader of the Berbers, and they begged him to get an army together to help, to assist the Muslims against the Christian onslaught that was taking place in Spain. Yusuf raised an army said to have included every ethnic group in the Western Desert and sent them across the sea into Spain, where the African army beat the Christians at Zalacat 1086. That is Yusuf ibn Tashfin. We feeling that? Now, just to put it in perspective, Yusuf ibn Tashfin, can you see Mansa Musa's on the same map? Who's darker?
Mansa Musa.
Right, so can you see the Moor is darker than the Negro? Are we feeling this? Now, isn't that powerful evidence? So anyone wants to run up their mouth, show them this. All right, so did they build anything in Africa? In Marrakesh, that's one of the monuments there. So if you go in that monument and you look up, that's what's there. Now, as ruler of Spain, Yusuf's forces seized Seville, dethroned its Islamic rulers. He accused them of being sunk in pleasure and sloth. And the result was the Almoravid Empire had a court in Africa centered in Marrakesh and a court in Spain centered in Seville. And according to Lady Lugard, this established once more a supreme sultan upon the throne of Andalusia. The dynasty which he founded must be regarded as an African conquest and an African dynasty. That's coming from Lady Lugard, the same woman that named Nigeria. Same woman. All right, now the Almoravid Empire was very extensive. Under their sway were the lands of Senegal, Morocco, Algeria, Tunis, and Spain, with 13 kings acknowledging the overlordship of Yusuf. So can we see a map? We feeling that? A little bit big, isn't it?
Very big. Very, very big. It's very big. But we lost Keith over there. But it's crazy again because none of this history is taught in school. You have to now do research on your own. And the good thing I love about the internet, some I feel like when the white people are bringing the internet, they thought it's going to mess African people up. They expected us to actually slow more way down. But, you know, it's a weapon being used against them right now because people are going all the way down to do research of their own history, the history of our ancestors, the history of our civilization, the history of our existence, our power, our nature, our science, everything you want to talk about African, because it's everything African, everything. It's everything African. Everything we have today in today's era, we know it has been so corrupted and manipulated for it to favor only the white elites. And the story is changing. The narrative is finally changing slow by slow. And this is why you see them sending all these threats that they are doing. Bashar to Ja Love, thank you so much for following the live creator. Hope you're doing great and welcome to the Black Hot Fire Network radio station. Shout out to Mzales is still there. Well, Kwapi, unakwanga the invisible. I don't know why you always there tapping, but I don't see you like on the, you know, on the numbers. You are crazy. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in and for tapping the screen. I appreciate it. Jiba Jabo says, Keith, what's your opinion on the Greek economist you're seeing that Joby just showed? Truth teller or an established agent? Thanks. Think Keith has left. He said he was in a bad area, but you can pull the question tonight on the Culture Show. We shall be having, of course, a discussion and the music station tonight. So in case you missed out on Tuesday, ensure you catch up with us on the network. The internet is working right now correctly and smoothly. So pull your request tonight. The baddest DJ you can't afford. Come on. I also see Zibadaba says we are in the days of the 100 monkeys. I tell you, it's on. It is on. We're there to actually We're not just taking bananas, but taking everything that belongs to us. And I also see Jiba says, yep, the net joined us in yeah, I tell you. Shout out to KJ Williams as well. Keith is trying to reconnect. I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to make it. But in case he doesn't, thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in. Achiki Mzale says, tonight in its Lego. Come on. Tonight, let me know what's the playlist you want to listen to, Mzales. Should we go TBT? Should we go reggae, or should we just do me? You know, give me a direction. I'd love to hear what you guys want to listen to. John Mosquito too, you know, complain right now before that time. You better pull the complaints right now before tonight. But anyway, much love. Thank you so much, everyone who has been on this amazing episode of today of the Pan-African Bliss Show. Remember, we do this every single day from Monday to Friday from 12:30 to 1:30. Sometimes we might start a little bit late, but either way, better late than never. So if you catch me live or if you catch this on a replay, do get to enjoy. Shout out to everyone who shall be catching this on a replay, and do leave your comments down below, whether you are on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, anywhere, and have yourselves an amazing day. Shout out to Jiba Jaba says, let's go gospel. No way. No way. I myself can't even keep up. No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not. No. I don't know, man. I can't keep up. I can't. Unless I just go back to the gospel songs that used to be exciting for us when we were in high school. Like those ones I'd kind of vibe to them because they were vibey, you know, and they're quick to listen to, not the slow jams. But shout out to Samuel as well. Nice to see you. You are there, a silent, amazing listener. Nice to see you. KJ Williams says, Joby, be careful buying water at Chinese store. Well, no, we don't have a Chinese store around here. The Chinese store is in Karen and I think in Thika Road. Chinese store called Thika Road, right? If I'm not wrong, you guys. I think in Thika Road and in Karen, where I previously used to stay. Plus, you'll barely find me supporting our enemy's business. Barely. Okay. I say that not be able to eat fries from downstairs, but I kind of like the fries. But it's not somewhere I'm gonna pour my money all the time. Okay. Not all the time. I'm very conscious of where I eat and what I eat. Yeah, and our water delivery guy it's a very good company, trusted. So yeah. And I also see he says pumped up base today, of course. KJ Williams says the Chinese sell toilet water to African as drinking water. God damn. Where is that coming from? I believe that is some link you have of a certain story, but that is so disgusting. You know, it's crazy. Today we're talking, I saw something which was saying, you've never seen a Chinese funeral. Do they eat each other? That is the question. You think about it. Have you ever guys seen a Chinese funeral? Think about it. Just think about it. Have you seen Chinese burying each other? And if not, did they eat each other? Because you remember the video where they wanted to eat that guy who was in their apartment during the COVID-19 time, during the curfew and quarantine time. They're like, let's eat this nigga. Let's eat this nigga. Come on, it is insane. But shout out to Eugene as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to John Mosquito and shout out to also Jal Love and to everyone who has been here for the first time and to all our amazing listeners. Have an amazing day. See you guys later on the Black Kings frequency. Jiba Jaba say, this is my story. This is my song. I know. Come on. That was Joyce Meyer. Is that Joyce Meyer or whose that song is? I don't know, man. Much love.
Every time I feel can't do no different. Swear me I win. That's why we try again. Every time I feel, cause God always listen. One day I have to win. That's why I'm try again. Tell me, working hard when I'm still struggling. Minimum wage can't cover my bills. Somebody tell me how I'm gonna live. Me might complain, but I'm not giving. I'll do it now, sure. Only me and God know how my day goes. Me have to make up and travel the town.
That is so disgusting, Jiba Jaba. God damn. Yes.
Anisha first started. When we don't stop, we stay here, be a laughter. Watch when we know say a time out of master. And everything is